Morning, everyone. Welcome to the session on TReDS, and we welcome from the chamber Mr. Ananth Hegde, who's the area head of Invoicemart. We have with us Dr. Jacob Krasta, who has joined us online, who is the mentor for the MSME and Skill Development Expert Committee of BCIC. And we have with us Mr. Sunil Telkar, who is the co-chairperson for MSME and Skill Development Expert Committee, who will be moderating and taking the session forward along with Mr. Ananth Hegde. Welcome.
Thank you.
And I would request Dr. Krasta to welcome the guest of the day.
Very good morning to you all. Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes, loud and clear.
Sir, on behalf of BCIC, I would like to, I'm very much pleased to welcome Mr. Ananth Hegde, Area Head Invoicemart, regarding introduction to TReDS. As you all remember, TReDS is a very, very important aspect of MSME, especially buyer seller and the payment is concerned. And also welcome Sunil Telkar, who is also a co-chair of the expert committee of MSME and skill development. This committee is really a good job as far as MSME is concerned, and MSME today are doing very good, especially after a pandemic. Whereas the major problem faced by, or the challenges faced by MSME is the payment. Banks funds are not available, whereas the supply made by MSME, the payment is not coming. Even the payment to the extent of 120 days, 180 days payments are not coming. Here, the major challenge on TReDS is faced by MSME is registration. Although the TReDS was approved in the parliament, say 5-6 years back in the budget, now it has taken so many years to get it to implementation stage. I was told by RBI already 3 NGOs have been registered for trading with the TReDS by MSME, and MSME when it supplies any supplies to any large or medium industries, the payment comes within 3 days or 7 days, no doubt about that. But here the challenge is, especially the state government and the central government, or the defense organization, or railways, they have not registered for TReDS. Unless and until they registered any supply made by MSME, they are not getting the payment. That is a major challenge. Although recently a notification has been passed, all state government and central government department has to compulsorily register TReDS, but still it is not been done. I think Ananth Hegde has to help us with the government or with the kind of state or central government to get this all these organizations registered with the TReDS, so that any supplies made by MSME to this kind of organization, payment gets within say 3 days or 7 days. Whereas now this, as for the income tax is concerned, especially 45GH, whereas it is getting the trouble today. Now most earlier we used to fight with the government, stating that if the large industry doesn't pay, so that his account is not shown as an expenditure, and it charges a penalty, and the penalty with the interest he has to make. But now that law may not be applicable as far as income tax is concerned, and most of the associations also represented the finance ministry to remove that clause and make this TReDS compulsory, so that the payment gets to the MSME within 3 days, 7 days. So with this footnote, so I welcome you, Mr. Ananth Hegde. So this is a great subject today. I think today, I think most of the MSMEs will get benefit out of this, your information, and get going. Now, if this kind of things are done, probably $5 trillion economy, we need not wait up to 2025. I think we will reach maybe by next year itself. Today we are already about say 3.93 of $4 trillion economy. Maybe by April, May, we may cross $4 trillion economy, and there is no doubt that we are going to place it globally number 3rd in the whole country. So and the credit should come to MSME, and by this TReDS implementing, I think we should be definitely going to go forward, and this is my wish. And hailing from a fraternity of small scale industry, especially the called micro and small enterprises. Well, this is going to benefit eTrade. And welcome to you all once again, sir. Sunil, I think take care. I'm on online. Sir, I'm already always will be there in giving any information if you require. So welcome to you, Ananth Hegde, on behalf of BCIC. Thank you very much and go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Nas. Would request Mr. Sunil Hegde to give an introduction for this speech.
Yes, we did. Something.
Sorry.
So thank you, Dr. Cresta, for welcoming or opening the session with the welcome address today and also giving the context or setting the context for session today. So you have already mentioned the importance of MSME in achieving the Vision 2030 and Vision 2047. Approximately 30% of the GDP actually comes from the MSMEs. So MSMEs need to be given the due importance what they actually deserve. And that's one of the reasons why, as a part of the MSME and Skill Development Expert Committee, we have focused on the credit aspect. And that's the reason why we have the session by Mr. Ananth Hegde today on TReDS platform. So Mr. Ananth, we got introduced very recently during the government workshop on TReDS in the month of January. And we got highly impressed and highly motivated, with the talk what he gave over there, because he was, one of the biggest of the evangelists for the TReDS platform. So we believe that as a part of BCIC, we should actually help, disseminate this information about the TReDS platform to all our members, because BCIC has got approximately 850 members, not just the MSMEs, but also the large companies. So the buyers also form a part of the TReDS platform, and they are also very important to ensure that the success of the platform actually is there. So Mr. Ananth actually comes with around 15 plus years of work experience. Before joining Invoicemart, he was part of Axis Bank for a very long time. Invoicemart basically is a joint venture between Axis Bank and M Junction. M Junction being the entity which is again a joint venture between the Steel Party of India Limited and Tata Group. Invoicemart has been supported very actively by RBI, and Invoicemart is basically the entity which is driving the TReDS platform. So today's session basically is to understand what the TReDS platform is all about, how the MSMEs can actually benefit from it. And also we can touch upon the points as to how the large companies can benefit out of the TReDS platform, because it's not just the MSMEs which can benefit, even the large companies also have got something to benefit from that particular thing. So with this, I would request Mr. Ananth to take over the session and help us understand more about TReDS.
Thank you, Sunil. So, Purushottam, you can just take on the presentation. So, hope the screen is visible to everyone. Okay, thanks you once again, BCIC, for inviting me for this TReDS presentation. So I will, take, the presentation is like, how why this TReDS came into picture, what activity happened behind, and the objective to start this particular platform by the, the RBI as well as the, central government to help the MSMEs. And what exactly we are doing and where we are standing, what we are going to, do in future. So along with the digital initiative, so those points I will cover, and post that, we can open for the question and answer session. You fine, sir? Okay, good. So just move on to the next slide. Okay. Okay. So TReDS is a trade receivable e-discounting system. It's initiated by RBI and central government as a part of financial inclusion plan to support MSME. So as you are aware, Mr. Jacob already given the introduction, what is the importance of the MSME for the Indian economy in terms of the GDP contribution or the kind of employment opportunity they are creating for the country, as well as the the kind of export they are doing to the abroad from country. So considering this, basically government thought of coming up with the discounting platform to address the MSMEs receivable challenges, so that with this they can support their working capital management and working capital as well as the cash flow of the MSMEs basically. Okay, so 2014, the RBI, issued the draft guidelines how exactly, the TReDS to be operated. And subsequently, I have mentioned the timeline also. 2016, 15, we got the license. 16, the TReDS Limited is incorporated. Basically, RBI given the license to Axis Bank in banking sector, only the bank to get this particular license. With M Junction, Axis Bank, started this particular, in TReDS Limited, and we operate the platform in the name of Invoicemart. Invoicemart is basically a branding. Okay, so and subsequently in 2017 mid, we got the license to start this particular platform. So basically, RBI issued the 3 licenses, once to the Axis Bank in the banking sector, and the Mind Solution, it's basically IT company, and they are running the M1 exchange platform. And third one is the RXL, the quasi government side, SIDBI got the license and they are operating the particular platform. So basically, RBI strategically given the 3 different the license to the 3 different sector to address the different segment of the business. Okay, so moving on to the next slide, please. Okay, so as I mentioned, trade receivable discounting system. It's called TReDS. It's basically in simple, I can say it's a bill discounting. Only thing here the TReDS, it's happened in the the online or transparent mode basically. Okay, it's a digital platform where we bring the buyers, the MSMEs basically, as well as the financier together in the ecosystem for doing the transaction. So basically, the TReDS platform, the guidelines issued by RBI is under the Payments and Settlement Acts as well as the respective KYC and the AML Act we follow. Okay, and what exactly we are doing? So basically, we facilitate the the financial inclusion of the MSMEs through proper the banking channel. The primary focus is that. Okay. Secondly, we enable the the MSMEs to convert their trade receivable into liquid funds, so that we can help them in the working capital requirement as well as the improve their cash flow basically. Okay. The focus is basically the address the the delayed payment, as Mr. Jairam told during the the introduction in note. Basically, the large corporates are giving the payment to the MSMEs. Most of the large corporate, I would say, giving the payment to the MSMEs on time. But whereas when it comes to the state PSUs or the central PSUs, yes, there is a the challenges. There are a lot of teething issues. Because of that, MSMEs are suffering. Plus, we are also helping the the financiers, the banks, to lend in the particular in our platform to the MSMEs, so that they can get the granular asset of PSL, PSL book basically. Okay. So today there are if you all are aware, there are many schemes are announced by the the finance ministry as well as the central government to support the MSMEs to scale up the MSMEs production in the Make in India, Skill India, a lot of other initiatives. But of course, the banks also facing the their own challenges, logistical challenges to lend. But here it's a digital platform. We are bringing the customers as buyers as well as the seller, so that they can easily fund the MSMEs through our platform. Okay. So what exactly we are doing as a TReDS platform? So basically, if you look at the presentation, there are buyer, financier, as well as the MSME seller. There are 3 participants in the platform. So we, as a platform provider, bringing all these 3 parties together in the ecosystem for doing the transaction. So basically, we are creating the platform for trading your invoices at a competitive rate. That's the main intention of coming of this particular platform. So who is a buyer? Buyer is basically a large corporate having the turnover of more than 500 crore, as well as the PSUs is mandated, and other corporates also, the large corporate, they can come and register as the buyer in the platform. The second is the MSME. So MSME seller, as you all are aware, any entity, any business entity, manufacturing, service or trading, irrespective of their constitution, whether it's a proprietorship, LLP or HUF, if their domestic turnover is below 250 crore and their investment on the plant and machinery and equipment less than 50 crores, they will qualify under the MSME category. So they will qualify as the seller in the portal. So basically, once the buyer registered in the platform, all the sellers, MSMEs supplying to the buyer, they can come and register in our portal as the seller. The third is the financiers. So financiers is basically all the banks as well as the NBFC factors. They can participate as the financier in the platform. So basically, we are creating the platform, bringing all these three parties together for doing the transaction. So once we register as the buyer, a large corporate as a buyer in the portal, based on their credit rating and the financial strength, the banks will sanction the unsecured and unadvised limit for discounting their MSMEs bills. So as a MSME, he can discount his 100% of the invoice through our portal without any kind of a recourse and liability on him by leveraging the credit strength of his buyer with a large corporate. So the MSMEs will have the competitive advantage in terms of the cost as well. Because if any MSME approach a bank for any kind of a working capital limit or maybe term loan, okay, so obviously he has to give the collateral, he has to pay processing charges. On top of that, he has to pay double-digit interest, rate if this sanction. But in case here, without giving any kind of a document, without his CIBIL check or nothing, he'll just give a KYC document to us for a registration. Okay. And he can discount his 100% of the invoice value with a lower rate of interest. Suppose he's supplying to a PSU, state PSU or central PSUs. Okay. So obviously the rating is good and cost of funds also very less in the platform. So it will help the MSME to get the better rate. It will help them to get the receivable, converted receivable to liquid fund immediately within 24 hours or 48 hours, so that they will have the regular cash flow for their business. Just move on to next slide.
So Mr. Ananth, just staying on this particular slide for the previous one, just had one clarification. When you call the buyer, so the buyer necessarily has to be a large corporate one.
Okay. So basically, the central government issued the gazette notification saying any companies having more than 500 crore as well as the PSUs, they have to mandatorily register in the TReDS platform. For a corporate, the respective state ROC is a monitoring body for the compliance purpose. For PSU, it's a Department of Public Enterprises is a monitoring. Okay, because as you are aware, the private limited or a limited company or LLP is monitored by the MCA. That's a registrar. When it comes to the PSU, Department of Public Enterprises is the control.
So basically, for the MSME to MSME transaction, this platform may not be.
So I'm jumping to that concept. Okay. So other corporate who are having less than 500 crore turnover or even the 200 crore or 150 crore turnover, if they want to transact, if they have a good balance sheet with the investment grade credit rating from the external credit agencies approved by SEBI, okay, so they can participate as the buyer in the platform. Okay, so what happens here? The limit sanctioned in the platform is a completely unsecured, unadvised. Okay, so obviously the banks or the NBFCs, they will look to the external credit rating and financial strength. Okay, for them that's a security, the kind of the comfort they have basically. Okay, so today in our platform also, okay, we do have MSMEs registered as the buyer. So even we are like a 80 crore or 100 crore or 150 crore turnover companies with a good the rating investment rating of BBB and above. What because banks will call investment rating means BBB. Okay, BBB is rating. So we are registered them as the buyer, and we got the limit from the banks. So the MSME supplying to this MSME are able to discount the bills. So that is, it's a okay. Just move on to this. Okay. So I just quickly go through what exactly Invoicemart done in last of 6 years basically. Okay. So Invoicemart is the largest platform in terms of the participant, in terms of the number of the disbursement what we have done, and in terms of the number of the invoices discounted. So by March end, the platform discounted close to 110 crore rupees since the inception. Okay, and this is growing exponentially. Okay, so if I have to say the contribution from the trades or the market side, what exactly we have done in last financial year, all three platforms put together, we have disbursed close to 1.4 lakh crore in last financial year. So 1.4 lakh crore disbursement to the MSME is a bigger thing. Yes, initially we had a problem to scale up the business. To adopt this particular product or the process in the system, there was a resistance from the large corporate as well at the initial stage. But we do see a traction post COVID, especially after Atmanirbhar plan announcement by central government during COVID in July 2020. Okay, we see a lot of changes happening. So because of that, we are able to double the number of disbursement every year. Okay, this market is growing almost 100% every year now, and we do expect this will scale up further in the coming years. Second, I suppose the point I mentioned about the ownership I already discussed. The participant, yes, we have almost 1,700 participants in the platform as a buyer, and we have 30,000 MSMEs registered at the portal, and we have the NBFC 62 plus. This is going to increase further because now RBI allowed the NBFC. I will touch upon that point in the next slide. And in terms of the coverage, yes, we covered almost 3,500 pin codes across the India. On the digital journey, we are onboarding all the buyers as well as the seller through our digital mode, basically video KYC, to the extent of RBI KYC and email guidance. So we are doing it. So the why I'm talking about the KYC and the email guidance, because see, I have 62 banks in my platform. No banks will talk to the MSME or large corporate. They will not take any kind of a document from them for lending there. Okay. So as a RBI regulated entity, doing the KYC, as well as the unit visit and the following the respective AML and other guidance is my responsibility. And based on that, the banks will rely on that and they will lend. So that's the importance of doing the KYC whenever we onboard the participant. Whether I onboard the bank, whether I onboard a large corporate or a seller, it remains the same. And in terms of the risk and IT, it's a ISO certified platform. We have a blockchain technology to ensure the checking the double financing or duplicate invoices. So all those inbuilt controls are there in the system. So this is the workflow. I'm just made a chart here. Okay, exactly how the platform works, how the transaction flow happens in the platform. Okay, so there is a MSME seller, buyer, as well as the financier, and in between is there's a platform text. So MSME, core is supplying to the large corporate. They can register in my platform and they can upload the bill. So once he upload the invoice to the platform, it will go to the counterpart, that is the buyer, for the acceptance and approval. Once it goes to counterparty, once their acceptance, then it will go to the financial for the bidding. So bidding is basically quoting the rate of interest. So the multiple banks will participate in the the bidding process. If I MSME uploads, let's say 1 crore bill, so let's say out of 60 banks, 10 banks taken the limit for that particular sanction, the limit for that particular buyer. Okay, all these 10 banks will be able to see that particular transaction. And if they are interested, they can come and quote the rate of interest. Suppose a bank quotes 8%, another will quote like 7.9%. Like that, the competitive bidding will happen. It will be visible to the MSME. Whichever is the lowest, he can sell. Okay, so this platform work like I would say and let's take an example of stock exchange. Okay, how the rates are changing. Similar way, it happens in the platform also. Okay, the one bank quotes and another bank will get the notification if they want. They can come, quote the lower rate. Okay, the platform works from morning 9 to evening 9. It is the bidding period or bidding window. So 12 hours the platform is open. During that period, the banks can come and do the participation in the bidding. The lowest rate quoted by the banks is acceptable to the seller. He can accept it, and the end of the day, our system will basically push the data to the NPCI. So National Payment Corporation of India, subsidiary of RBI, is the intermediary for making the or settling the payments of rates. Okay, so basically through NACH they will do the settlement. Whenever we are registering the buyer or the financier, we will take a NACH mandate. Whichever banks with MSME is selected, NPCI will debit their account, that particular bank account automatically and credit them into the MSME account through the NACH. So like that, the process works. So go on to the next slide, please. Okay. So whatever the workflow I mentioned, in the previous slide, same I have just stepwise I have done here for the better understanding. Okay. So there are two types of transaction happens in the platform. So one is basically the factoring transaction initiated by seller. The second is the reverse factoring initiated by the buyer. Okay. So first we'll talk about the factoring transaction. So let's say a seller, buyer as well as the financier are registered in my portal, and the seller is supplied the material to a buyer. Let's say 45 days credit period, or maybe a 90 days in case of medium market. Because I just explain about the 45 days or 90 days this thing, because MSMED Act says the large corporate has to make a payment to the MSMEs within 45 days. This applies to only for the micro and small. Okay, when it comes to the medium scale enterprises, where the turnover is between 50 to 250 crore turnover. Okay, for them, they can free to negotiate with the credit terms with the buyer. There is no mandate that they have to make a payment in 45 days. It's up to the the seller and the buyer then to negotiate for the 60 days or 90 days or maybe even 10 days. Okay, it's up to them. Okay, so coming back to the process, so the seller will log into my portal and he will upload the invoices which is supplied to the buyer. He will upload only a scan copy of the invoice. We don't require any other document. He will just key in the simple information of the invoice like invoice number, invoice date and amount, and upload the scan copy of the invoice, and he will submit the transaction. So portal work like a normal internet banking. Okay, so portal means internet, like everyone is aware that how the internet banking works. Everyone will have the user ID and login credential. They can log in and they can do transaction either through a system or through mobile. Both options are. Okay. So once the seller uploads the invoice in his login, that particular transaction will flow to the buyer for this acceptance. So basically, buyer will log in and he will validate that particular invoice, whether the GRN is done, quality check, quantity check, everything internal process is over. Then he will give a concurrence in the platform, and it will be up for the further process for the bidding. In case any kind of what do you say, discrepancies are there, or by a seller uploaded wrong invoice or maybe a wrong amount or given. So buyer has the option to send back that particular transaction or reject the transaction, whatever uploaded by the seller. So if everything is clear, buyer will accept and approve, and financier will start quoting the interest rate for that particular transaction. So once they start bidding, the transaction will be there in the system for 5 days. So 5 days, these banks can be bidding. That's a T plus 4 days, 4 working days basically. So if the seller accept the lowest interest rate, the interest rate whatever is quoted by the banks is acceptable to seller, he can accept it. Next day he will get the money to his account. So next day, basically, the transaction will be pushed to the NPCI system. NPCI will debit the financier account, whichever bank, whichever financier rate of interest seller is accepted, and credit the money to the seller account on this day. And on the due date, okay, on the 45th day, whatever the due date is mentioned by the seller while uploading the invoice accepted by the buyer, on that day, buyer account will get debited automatically by the NPCI system and credit the monthly financial account, whichever the bank he accepted the bid during the disbursement or during the transaction. So that's how the factoring process. Second is the reverse factoring. So both the options are available. Either seller can come and discount the invoices in the platform, or even buyer can discount the transaction and he can make a payment to his. Okay. The minimum discounting tenor is 7 days and maximum is 180 days. In case of reverse factoring, what happens? Seller involvement will not be there. Basically, he will just register in the portal. So buyer, whenever you want to make a payment, maybe on the 10th day or a 30th day or a 45th day, he can just upload the transaction to the portal, get the interest rate quotation from the bank, and get it accepted, so that the seller will get the complete amount of the payment to his bank account, and the interest will be recovered from the buyer. So basically, the intention of this giving this particular option is, see, one is the discounting. Second, the regulator also wants to give this particular platform as the MSME payment tool for the large corporate. So if any large corporate comes and says, I want to streamline my MSME payment, I need to ensure the payment to my MSMEs in a 30 days or 45 days. So even they are going for the reverse factoring by putting all the their seller into the platform and doing the transaction, so that they are ensuring every weekly basis, whatever the invoices are due, they are simply uploading for all the vendors and making the payment. So move on to next slide. So what are the benefits of this platform? So it's basically a window win-win situation for all three participants basically. So buyer, yes, he will get the flexible repayment terms. He can go to 180 days after extension. Second, alternate funding mechanism, because it's an unsecured, unadvised limit where buyer is not going to sign any kind of documents with the banks. Banks are not going to ask the NOC from the existing banker. No need to pay any kind of charges. It's just like he's having the extra one credit card in his pocket. So whenever he wants to use it, he can just use it. Let's say a corporate is making the payment through their normal cash flow or the working capital. Certain time they may not have the info. They will have the challenge of funds. So that point in time, they can come and use our platform and make a payment to the MSMEs on time. Third is the same, seamless integration options are available to NPCI as well as with the TReDS. Since this platform is like a seamless payment tool for the MSMEs, so we can do the integration with their ERP as well as the NPCI system, which would help to control the entire payment process of their vendors in a seamless way. Okay. So early payment also options are available where he can negotiate with the vendor for the better terms or better supply. Okay. So we do see a lot of corporates are doing this, saying that let's say they are using our platform to make the payment to the MSME vendor on the immediate basis or maybe within 7 days. For that, they are asking some kind of a cash discount or a better pricing, so that it will help both as well as the MSME as well as the large corporate. Of course, vendor administration cost also lower for them. When it comes to the MSME, MSMEs are getting the significant benefit out of this, because one is the major is the cost. Okay, so what I'm seeing in a daily transactions or kind of cases what I have seen in last 4 years. Okay, I see a difference of almost 1.5 to 2% on an average in rate of interest. So if I am able to reduce the 2% interest rate for the MSME, that means that entire 2% is going to his P&L, right? So that's how the platform is effective. Okay, so I do see many of the customers getting the OD or CC at 11.5%, But instead of going for a OD or CC, they are coming and discounting the bills in my platform like 7.75 or 8%, or maybe 8.5%. Of course, the rate of interest goes based on the large corporate credit rating and the financial strength. But still, we are able to make a difference of on an average 2% for the MSMEs. So that will benefit to the lot of MSMEs to the large. Okay. Second is, of course, they'll be able to leverage their buyer credit profile. Obviously, that will help them to reduce the cost. There is no recourse on them. Suppose on the due date, if anything happens, these financials will go to the large corporate and ask for the payment. So as a MSME, once he comes and discount the bill in the platform, his job is over. If something happens on the due date or anything happens, so either platform or the large corporate or the bank, no one will approach MSME. It's between the the large corporate as well as the between the bank to settle it up. And of course, there is no collateral as well as the no loan liability on the MSME goods. So whatever the transaction happens in platform, whether either platform or the bank, we are not checking their CIBIL or anything. Okay, we are not checking whether the CIBIL is good or not, whether he's eligible for that, what is his turnover. We're not checking anything. We're just taking the KYC document of the MSME, Udyam certificate, and their bank account details. Wherever, whichever account, if they are holding the account in any PSU bank or MNC bank, or maybe in a cooperative bank also, we are giving the credit to that particular, bank. In terms of financial, of course, for financial also it will be a seamless process because as in the earlier slide I mentioned, I covered almost 3,600 to 3,700 pin codes. Okay, if any bank wants to what you say do the marketing or create a the customer base in such kind of a huge location, it will be difficult for them, right? Lot of logistical, marketing, administrative efforts will require. But here they are getting all the customers readily in the platform. They have to just take their the financial and credit rating, do the underwriting and do the sanctioning and start whatever the bills coming, start bidding. So basically, all other costs our banks are able to they'll be able to mitigate that and they'll be able to fund here. It will help them to increase their PSL benefit also. Because MSME lending RBI classified as the priority sector lending. So that's the reason banks are also passing on the benefit in terms of the rate of interest when they are quoting the interest rate in the platform. And of course, many banks are not able to meet the PSL requirement in the open market. Okay. So they will come and they will bid aggressively here and helping the MSMEs. As a bank, okay. So enablers and regulatory changes, what we discussed a little bit earlier, and just tell you when exactly all these changes happen. So as I mentioned, in 2017 June, we started the transaction for the license. After 1.5 years in 2018, government made this mandatory for the 500 crore and above turnovers and CPSCs and as well as the PSUs with a direct notification. In 2020, during Atmanirbhar plan announcement, Udyam has been introduced with the turnover criteria in the MSME definition. Then they have included traders also in the MSME, and of course other the schemes under CGT, MSC or GST and others initiative also taken by the central government to help the MSMEs to scale up this particular TReDS platform so that everyone will come and participate in the platform so that this scale up can happen. Everyone will get a benefit out of this. Then when it comes to the RBI, so basically RBI recently taken a lot of measures to address the supply side problem. Supply side problem in the sense the funding requirement for the large corporate or maybe a lower rate decline. So there were challenges because banks are comfortable to give a limit, unsecured limit, if the credit rating is good or financials are good. But in normal business scenario, we see a lot of smaller corporate or maybe a large corporate having the challenges of credit or cash flow issues or rated by with double B or P rating. That's a bit below investment grade basically. So to address that, what RBI done is RBI allowed the NBFCs also participate as the financial lending platform. So as you all are aware, NBFCs having the higher appetite to for the risk. So that's the reason RBI allowed them. They have identified 161 NBFCs across pan India for participating in the TReDS. So basically, RBI don't want to give a license to all the NBFCs. Only the large NBFCs having more than 1,000 crore asset size. So RBI themselves identified 160 odd NBFCs and issued the CORs. Okay, this is basically a kind of a authority letter of the license. So post that we are registering them as the NBFCs. So many NBFCs started coming onto our platform and started the lending now. Then second is the trade credit insurance. So this is as of now it's a work in progress because as of now we have only 3 participants. We are including a 4th one. Maybe in a couple of months by June we should be able to go live on this particular insurance covered lending basically. If any, what happens post that is if any banks not comfortable with the lower rated client, then they can get the insurance covered for that particular lending and make a disbursement to the MSMEs. Okay, so this is as of now work in progress. Maybe by May end or June we should be able to start because it required a lot of system integrations. Okay. The third is the secondary market and rediscounting on TReDS. So this also allowed by RBI. So what happens? So today we are dispersing around 6,000 crore every month. Okay. So all 3 platforms put together, maybe we are planning to touch around 45 crore, 45,000 crore kind of a volume in a month. That's the volume we are looking for in next financial year. So what happens? There are many banks. They will have the funding liquidity challenges. Okay. So we do have some small PSU banks or the private banks. They have allocated like 3,000 crore funds for TReDS lending. So that is not sufficient. So once that is over, then banks will stop funding in the platform. So seeing this kind of a situation, RBI understood the requirement of a secondary market and so what happens is if any kind of any bank, if their limit is over, what they can do is they can sell that particular asset created by them in our platform. They can sell it to the other banks, get the liquid funds and start funding them. So this also enabled by the RBI in last year, last 6 months back in monetary policy, not 6 months. To be precise, on 7th June 2023, the date this legend modification is issued by RBI. And 4th, enablers, enablement, what RBI done is direct settlement to the MSMEs via TReDS. What it means. So basically, in case any MSME approach the transactions in the platform, in case any banks or any NBFCs not quoted any rate of interest for that particular transaction. Okay. So what we can do as a platform provider, we can debit the buyer corporate account because we collect the NACH mandate for the corporate account, right? So we can debit their account and credit the money to the MSME account without discount. So this also already implemented. Transactions are live in the port. So whatever the RBI initiative done in 7 and 8 months back, 2 are already implemented. Other 2 expected to be go live. The first and 4th is already live. The 2nd and 3rd is expected to be go live by 1st quarter. So that's in a working process. So this is about the some of the use cases how it's benefiting to the all the parties. We discussed during the session. Again, I will just quickly, take you through. So basically, the seller registration is a one-time activity in the portal as well as for the lab. Okay. So I have registered 30,000 plus MSME. Bank sitting in a Mumbai or maybe in a Chennai or maybe in their corporate office, they can sit and they can completely do the lending based on the KYC document and what the TReDS platform is. The second, benefit what MSMEs are getting is, so once you registered in the TReDS portal, I have 1,700 large corporate in my platform. If it applies to 2 corporates or 5 corporates, okay. So we can just map this registration ID to all those corporates wherever is supplying the material or industry service. Okay. Suppose let's say the the MSME supplied to HAL, done the registration. Again, he started supplying to BL. Again, he has to do a fresh registration. That is not required. It's a one-time activity, and that will help the MSMEs as well. So basically, platform is a one stop giving solution to all the corporates, all the MSME basically if his large corporate is registered in our portal. Okay, so more next slide, please. So what exactly the government and task force committee is doing. So in my previous slide, I have already explained what RBI taken the step to improve further the participation to scale up the business further. The government MSME ministry is driving the entire this thing. So there is a ramp plan they are running in association with the World Bank. Each state governments appointed KPMG, EY, PwC, or the Big Four basically to study how exactly the MSMEs business or challenges can be mitigated, right? How can be implemented, securities, how it can be revived. So this KPMG and other Big Four are studied the complete scenario, and they have submitted the report to the state governments also for the implementation. So what will happen is with this, we will see a lot of movement is going to happen at the state government as well as the PSU. Because how, for example, in Karnataka, KPMG has done the study for last 6 months, and they have submitted the report to the state government that implementation is in process because of the election and code of conduct. This thing it's not moving in last month. Basically, this activity happened in January itself when we had a technical session in the ramp basically in January itself. Okay, but what the feedback what we are getting from the BIC as well as the other state PSUs, they will implement the TReDS in a better way. We will see a lot of traction coming from the state PSUs as well. It's actually happening. One of the success story I want to share here. Basically, one of the the state PSU in Hyderabad, we are able to get them on board after this, and we are able to lend close to 300 plus crore to the MSME supply. Okay, we help. Similar way, in Karnataka also we are seeing things have started moving with the government also as well as the state PSUs also. In fact, yesterday I met one of the state PSUs MD, and yes, his team to start the transaction because he was resisting from last 2-3 years. But after all these things are happening, okay, now they are coming up. At least somewhere, the start is happening. So that's the one good thing we are seeing. Plus, this task force committee also given a lot of other recommendation to the the corporate affairs as well as the financial ministry to mandate this particular TReDS for the large corporate as well as the PSUs. Okay, so maybe once this central government, new government comes in, maybe in July or August, we will see further steps taken by central government, whatever the task force committees recommended those points, obviously government will, take that and they will start implementing that also. Will start implementing that also. So the main, the recommendation from the task force committee is one, is about the challenges faced by the MSMEs in terms of the certification and acceptance of the invoices by the state PSUs or the central PSU. So what is that? Generally, what we are seeing in the ground level is if the MSME supplies to a state PSU or central PSU or railways, okay, what happens? His bill will not get certified for 3 months or 4 months or 6 months. Once the bill is certified, within 15 days, MSME will get the payment. So we do see that because we are also getting many calls on a daily basis saying, I supplied in June or February or sorry, January or February, but my bill is not certified. But the moment I ask them, once the bill is certified, because until unless certification happens, the PSU will not give a approval in the portal for discounting that particular bill. Until unless they accept the bill, bank will not quote the interest rate, or they will not participate in the bidding, or they will not fund it. Okay. So the challenge what we are seeing here is certification itself is taking long. So basically, this task force committee has recommended some kind of a initiative or some points there to reduce that particular time. They're putting some kind of a timeline there so that MSMEs will not suffer. So you take an example of maybe some of the PSUs I'm managing here. Okay. The moment it will get certified, if I ask the MSMEs to get the discounting in my platform, they will simply say, sir, I waited for certification for 2 months or 3 months. Now it's certified. Within a week, I will get the payment. Why should I come and pay the interest? Anyway, I manage the business. I ran my show for last 2 months without funds. Now again, another week I will do it. So here exactly we are facing issues in some of the PSUs. This challenge are there in the private corporate also. I'm not denying that it's not there, but the percentage is very less. So almost I would say at least 80%, 82% of the large corporates are making the payment to the MSMEs on them. Yes, there are different sector. Depending on the sector, yes, there is some challenges for making the payment because of the political scenario or maybe the kind of a business they are managing. But still, it's better. 82% is still better. But in terms of PSU, that the percentage is less. Of course, once this task force committee recommendations implemented, we'll see a lot of the issues at the ground level will get addressed. Small mixed things. It's about the digital initiative and what exactly we are doing. So for the seamless service for the participants, so we have tied up with a lot of with the stakeholders to improve the experience, onboarding experience. For example, if I have to say if I have to do a unit visit and everything instead of doing the VKYC as per the RBI guidance, what happens? I have to take I'll take at least 3 to 4 days because I have to send my person to their premise. He will visit, he will collect all the document, he will come back, he will log in all those things. But in VKYC, in VKYC, what happens is, either MSME seller or our executive, you can just simply take the KYC document, scan copy, upload it, send a digital link to the MSME authorized signature, get it signed, and come on the BKYC for a couple of minutes for just show the KYC document and get it done. So within 2 to 3 hours, we'll be able to do the onboarding and process. Of course, we will have the other stakeholders like Udyam or GEM or GST, multiple stakeholders with multiple stakeholders we are working with, so that seamlessly we can get the data from them. So the reason being, there are so many MSMEs in the almost as per February data, 15.5 or 15.6 million MSMEs are registered in the Udyam portal. Okay. Registered. unregistered, there will be more than double of that. We're talking about a 15.5 million, but the registration in the TReDS portal is hardly touching around, I would say 30, almost 75,000. Still, a lot to cover. So if I have to cover, if I have to scale up, obviously I have to do this kind of a digital initiative where I can, if I able to get the data from the Udyam website through the integration.
Speed of the very.
Exactly, I can increase the number of participants because I can extend the service like that. Once you registered in the Udyam, I can ask them to just connect, give this document, remaining document to get the registration complete in that track. Because this registration is a one-time activity, it's a lifetime activity. So once until unless he is a MSME, that is valid. If he moves out from the MSME, category, then his registration will go on. So he can use it because once the registration is done, he can use it for the multiple, corporates also. So that's what we are doing. Of course, GEM and GST other portals also we are working. Please move on to next slide. So of course, digital onboarding, I'm just given the step by step where the participant can visit our website, they can upload the documentation in online so that they can get the link to their mail ID, get it signed, and then completely onboarding. So this process also very simple. Like once you visit our website, it will ask the minimum document like the PAN, GST, Udyam, if it's a private limited SIM or MOE, it's a partnership date, and the respective authorized signatories KYC documents. Okay. It's a simple document. Plus, they have to upload the cancelled check or bank statement or letter just to show that they have an account in that particular bank and it's active. So simple document they can just upload it in our portal. Then they can register themselves as the MSME in the land. Next slide, please. Thank you. So I covered all the the points, how the TReDS came into picture, how exactly it's working, what we have done last 5-6 years, what enablement done by the regulator RBI as well as the central government, and what kind of a digital initiative and what will be the future of this particular the platform. Now I'm opening up a session for the question and answer. So I'm happy to take any kind of questions on the TReDS.
Let me start, Mr. Ananth Hegde. As you rightly stated, once the MSME supplies to PSU, state PSU, public PSU, even after say 90 days, 120 days, they don't certify the bill. And you and everybody knows that there is the MSMED Act. A payment to any supplies to MSME has to be paid within 45 days. Out of which within 15 days, if it is not certified, the bill, it is deemed that it is certified. That is a law.
Yes.
But despite having that kind of law, we are not getting the payment even after 120 days, 180 days. Now here the challenge again, as you rightly stated, the state PSUs and the public PSUs and the defense and the railways, they have not registered for TReDS. Once they are not registered, now we are not getting the payment as an MSME. So how can we now, as you rightly stated, okay, some people are now state PSUs have started registering it. Now how it can be initiated now? I mean, what's your suggestion? What BCIC can do as far as this subject is concerned?
Okay, so I will take up this in a question into two this thing. I split the question into two pieces. So first piece is on the certification and other thing. So as the task force committee already recommended, they have given some kind of a solution to address the delay in certifying the invoices by the PSUs as well as the department as well as the trade. Okay. So even this has been stated by Mr. Bala. He is the CEO of IFCL and he is the chairman of the task force committee during our technical session also. Okay. So of course we are going to see some kind of a changes there. Secondly, on the state PSU as well as this thing. So because of this RAM program, we are seeing a lot of communication also going from the state government as well as the DICs to the state PSUs as well as the department to register in the platform. In fact, we are working with the state government also to sign a MOU with them so that it can be implemented or all the participants of state PSUs can come on TReDS portal in a effective way. Okay. And when you have to talk about the central PSUs already registered in the TReDS portal, but active participation is not there. Okay, so be it the saying the main central PSUs which are based in Bangalore, let's take example like HL or BL or BML or HL or some BHL. There are many some 6 to 8 central PSUs. But we are also seeing the traction started now. Okay, they are keen to start the transaction as well. So yes, we are also seeing key from the couple of PSUs. They are sharing the MSMEs list to us. See these MSMEs we are issued the tender. Please approach them and register them and in our TReDS so that their tenders once they supply the material then we can discount it. Yes, traction is building up. We are seeing some kind of improvement. Of course, it will take some more time to get the result which can be quantified in terms of the amount or number of transactions.
Thank you. Rashmi, you can check any questions on the chat box.
So while you're checking for the questions, I have basically one point which I just want some guidelines. So what do you think is the role of the industry chambers in helping the different initiatives like the TReDS to make it successful? So how the chambers actually can serve?
With respect to the chambers, what I request is I suggest all the members of the chamber, okay, whether they are MSME or a large firm, okay, they should come and register in the TReDS portal as a first. Okay. So once this registration is happen, then at least we will somewhere we'll see some kind of transactions are getting done. We also done this kind of initiative because in fact RBI also conducting lot of this kind of awareness session. They're conducting lot of town hall meetings as well as the NAPCOMs event for the bankers where they are bringing their MSME vendors for this kind of event. We are doing a registration for them, but that might not get immediately. They will be able to do some kind of a transaction, but maybe 3 months or 6 months down the line, we'll be able to see some kind of a transaction. I'll just give you one live example. Okay, so for in last year June, RBI Bangalore is conducted the one event for all the Canara Bank MSME customers. Okay, all the the MSMEs are dealing with Canara Bank. They came to that particular event. They're registered in the platform. Okay, they're registered in June and July, but nothing happened till November. But in December we are seeing a lot of things. So now in that one of the MSME, his turnover is 200 crores. He came and registered. Now he is supporting almost some 35 to 38 MSME supplying to him through our portal. Okay, so I'm seeing almost he's very active in a last quarter, Jan, Feb and March. He is actively making the payment to all his 38, 40 vendors through my portal. Means our TReDS portal, and of course he's asking all other vendors also come on to the TReDS portal so that they can get the payment on time. Okay, so see, once we increase the participants number in the portal, they will be able to leverage it. So out of 15.5 million Udyam registration, we hardly have some 75,000. This 75,000 MSMEs we have disbursed 1.4 lakh crore in last year. Okay, so if we are able to scale up the participants in the platform, obviously the effect in the ground level will be very, very high. Very, very high. So I request you as well as the the chamber whoever is the, concerned persons managing this MSME piece as well as the large corporate, please bring everyone to the TReDS portal. If required, we are sitting next to your office only, okay? So I can put up a stall here. I can ask, 1 or 2% come and sit here, or maybe I can give a document checklist. You can just, your members can just share the scan copy of the KYC document to my person. He will generate the link and he will give it to you for signing. Okay, so let's do the, the one-time registration activity so that, at least it will help this people, because many people are not aware this kind of a, platform is there to, support the MSMEs.
One question basically I had. So for an MSME, which is registering on TReDS for the first time, so what are typical challenges an registered company might face as per your experience?
See, for registering the MSME in our portal, of course, there is no challenge for them, because I am not asking any kind of financial from them. I'm not checking anything, nor I'm checking their civil or anything. All I'm requesting the MSMEs to provide the basic document of their entity KYC as well as the approximate KYC, plus the bank statement wherever they are. Once they give that, we will fill up the application, we will complete the registration. As far as the MSME is concerned, onboarding, we don't see any kind of a challenge. But when it comes to the large corporate, of course, large corporate, the mindset is different. We need to go and sit with them. We need to convince them, because many of the large corporates says, I'm making the payment to my MSMEs in 45 days or 30 days. Why should I give this kind of facility? Why should I support my MSME operationally also, coming to the portal, validating each invoice, passing the accounting entries? That will increase my operational activity. So those kind of a resistance we are seeing from the the large corporate. But yes, it will take some time to convince them and set up some kind of a process for them to start. So in your chamber also, I request all the the large corporate also come on, register on the TReDS portal. If any corporates having more than 500 crore turnover, for them it's a mandatory compliance registration. We will support all your the large corporate. Plus, if other corporate also like 250 to 500 crore in between any kind of a corporates or enterprises are there, I also request them to come and register on the our portal. The reason being, the 500 crore threshold what budget notification government is issued, it's expected to be reduced to 250 crores. Okay, so this was just mentioned in the, and if you remember, this is mentioned by the Bala sir during the okay. This is also recommended by the task force committee. So I request everyone to come and register, so that once people aware of this particular platform, they will get some kind of a benefit out of this.
Thank you. And if we don't have any further questions, probably we can any part of the session.
There are no questions on the chat. Thank you very much. And I would like to thank all the sponsors of BCIC for enabling us to conduct all the sessions, whether it is physical, hybrid or webinar. And with this, I would like to thank the sponsors, the Brigade, Bureau, Continentals, Fundamax, IAMP, MTR, Ramia, Institute of Management, SDM, IQD, Sona Group of Institutions, TReDS and Vishwas, which makes us to have these sessions which are very, very useful for our members as well. And I would like to thank you, especially for making it possible to come and address our members. And thank you, Sunil, for arranging this. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I can assure from the chamber, so this is going to be the first of many engagements which we are planning with Invoicemart on TReDS. just a small token of appreciation for wonderful session today.
So